Welcome to Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today and we have another show lined for y'all. We have our guest for today. Her name is Tori Jenae, and she is a powerhouse trauma-informed coach. And specifically, she is the creator of Reclamation Method. She's also a confidence and relationship mentor. We're going to learn all about her story. But first and foremost, I want to welcome her to the show because I know I can probably spend another 3 minutes on your resume, but I just want to cut to the chase and say, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you being on. We know that you have a goal to help millions of women heal, and you're doing a lot of great work. You've been on many, many different platforms, and true honor to have you on this platform today. Kind of set this up for our audience. What's the backstory of you?
Yeah, I like to kind of start with where I am and then go backwards to kind of give the transition or the transformation, I guess. So today I have multiple psychology degrees. I'm trained in like a million modalities. And I live in Beverly Hills, California, but that is not where I started. I was born to someone who struggled with addiction. Both my parents actually struggled with addiction. I grew up in a lot of, like on welfare, like you name it. I've had that struggle, a lot of trauma, a lot of difficulty. I had to move out when I was 17 years old, put myself through college, and I can't really name many traumas I haven't been through. So that's one of the things about my story that I love is that I'm not like, yes, I've got the psych degrees, but I've also walked through the fire. I've been through divorce and the death of both of my parents. My sister overdosed. Like so much stuff has happened that I've had to transform. So when I speak about these things, I'm really speaking from the heart of doing it myself, as well as learning from a multitude of disciplines of how to do it well, really mind, body, and soul. And so seeing trauma as something that, or even just difficult times or chronic stress, because maybe not everyone's story is like mine, but it doesn't mean that we're not being affected by it, especially in today's world. So today I stand before you a completely different woman, but my beginnings were very rough and I've had to go through a lot to get to this place.
You say you lost both parents. I have to ask you, how close were you to your parents? Because I could never imagine that. So what was your relationship like with both your parents?
Yeah, so my mom was challenging because she did have, a lot of drug and alcohol addiction like my entire life. She only got somewhat clean towards the end of her life because she was in assisted living, but she was quite young. Her body started to give out on her, early, like 50. So I lost her when I was like 32. I don't remember the exact age, but what had happened is I did have to take some time away from her to like heal and work through all the pain because while I know now she was my greatest teacher, as the most difficult people in our lives are, we had a very difficult relationship because of the trauma, because of, neglect and at times abuse and a lot of difficult things. But she's the one who raised me. She was the only person I knew growing up. So, I think losing your mother is one of the most difficult things, no matter how difficult the relationship was, because you literally came to the planet through her. So that connection is so powerful. And my father was out of my life for many years because he left when I was 6 months old. But then we reconnected, and then it's just like knowing that he's not on the planet anymore to have that connection. But I also lost my grandmother who helped raise me, and that was very difficult because she wasn't even my biological grandmother. That's how amazing she was in her own ways. She's actually my little brother's grandmother. And so I lost her. I lost my sister, my mom, and my grandmother within like a 2-year span, like all at once.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I did not know. And wow, you're a very strong person because I'm looking at my next question is like, forget this script. Let's just get into this vibe.
Yeah, no, I'm an open book. Ask me whatever you want. Cause like the stuff that's happened, like that's not even all the deaths that happened. I lost my entire family within and I got a divorce. I sold there's nothing I didn't lose in about a 10-year period. And that was after a pretty traumatic childhood where kindergarten through 7th grade, I went to like 7 schools. Like every year we moved, like there was just a lot of intensity. So yeah, that's why I love to share this because I don't think we talk about these things or how do we get through the hard stuff?
Yeah, because my next question was going to be, what was the moment where you feel like you had to just pause? But I'm like, man, you had to pause throughout your life. I mean, you have many moments, but I'll rephrase that to say, what kept you just going? Because that, wow, it's like heartache after heartache. That's a lot of heartache in a short amount of time. How did you
Yeah.
feel grounded?
I guess as a child, how I stayed grounded was partially like I knew I didn't want to live the life of my family. I knew I didn't want to become an addict. I saw the repercussions of that. You know, my mom and my sister both had done time in jail. So it wasn't like I didn't see the darkness of addiction. So for me, I made radically different choices. I knew I had to get an education. And I knew for me, like being even a 21-year-old drinking wasn't really an option. So I chose to not drink like early on. Like I quit by the time I was in my early 20s because I was like, for me, this is like Russian roulette. So that's kind of, and then I had a little brother. He's about 7 years younger. And I wanted to break that cycle for him as well. And I think that's what kept me going then. And then in this period of my life from about 2012 to 2022, where like I lost my health, I spent all my money building my business. Like, like I said, there really is no way to describe it. And there's definitely like experiencing the kind of grief that cracks your soul open is not an easy task. But I think what kept me going was the work that I do and knowing that I could transform all of that pain into more purpose and that those wounds would one day become my greatest wisdom. So I was having some kind of faith on the days that I did not want to get out of bed and that I didn't, you know, there was definitely days that I was like, if this is life, like, I don't know about this. Like, I'm good. I'm like, maybe it's time to exit left. So it's not that I didn't have those difficult thoughts. It was just like, I think connecting to my own purpose and knowing that if I'd been through all of that, there had to be some reason that I was here.
Because what sticks out is at a young age, you went through so much. And even in your 30s, you just keep trucking along because it's like even more things are happening. So my question for you is, you're the creator of the Reclamation Method. And I can
Mm-hmm.
imagine that's a very powerful thing you came up with your life experience. Kind of walk the audience through uh, how you put that together.
Yeah, it was so, like I said, I started out in the psychology world and I really went through like yoga, meditation, energy healing, like you name it, even supplementation. How do we take care of our bodies? How do we heal like at the deepest level? And then I started putting together like, how do we put this into kind of a system or process? And while I shift it for everyone because we're all unique, maybe someone else needs, you know, maybe someone's struggling with their body the most, maybe someone's struggling with their mind the most. But what I really help people do is let go of the past, start to really release the pain. You know, we all have like emotional baggage that we're carrying and we don't recognize how it's weighing us down. We have chronic stress, we have all those kinds of things. So I start with that process of like, how do we let go? How do we reclaim who we truly are? Not the stories, not the fears, not the beliefs. And then how do we start rewiring ourselves to be more toward who it is we truly want to be without the expectations of life, without the pain, without the fear, without feeling stuck. Like all of that stuff is very human and very normal. And the more I think difficulty we've had, and even, and again, it doesn't need to be like my story. That's one thing people always hear my story, like, oh my God, it's nothing like that. But maybe you had really critical parents. Maybe, you know, you don't feel confident in yourself. It could be so many things that you still have to let that go to move forward. Like maybe you don't feel like you're living a life of integrity. Maybe you don't feel like your true self. Those are all things that you get to work through. So I really have this process of kind of going inward, healing mind, body, and soul so that you can become the person you're really here to be. Because everyone has some reasons they're here, and we're all here to be happy, to make a difference, to have life experiences. But I think we get caught up in our pain and our woundedness. And even sometimes we don't know that's what it is.
Yeah. And I want to talk about that because identity, that is something I can only imagine you had to struggle with. I mean, we all do. I'll be first one to raise my hand. We all had to go through some some challenges in order for us to get to our better selves. But before we
Absolutely.
do, once again, listen on Refocused Radio, talking to our guest today. Go to our website, torijenae.com. Let's talk about identity, because to go through those struggles and storms, I mean, a lot of it was beyond your control. It was
Yeah.
just happening
Like
to you.
99% of it.
Walk us through how you had to uh, maybe reconfirm your identity, because pain can cloud you up and you get in a deep fog. And before you know it, you can be in destruction. So, how did you get yourself to grips to be solid as you are as a person?
Yeah, I think my identity, luckily, growing up was already that I'm strong. That's something I always told myself. But I think the identity shift I actually had to make was that, like, life was always going to be hard and I was always going to struggle and that things were always going to be bad. And that started to make me lose hope. Because that's what, just like every year something so traumatic would happen. It'd just be like, you can't even make this stuff up. Like, how does this happen to one human too? And
Yeah.
so I definitely had to do a lot of work around, because our beliefs about ourselves become who we think we are. So it's like if we keep messing things up, we think we're a mess. If we keep, like those little things that people don't recognize, if you think you're just this one way, that becomes who you identify as being. And it's like, no, that's a result of your choices or your experiences, not the core of who you are. And so doing that inner work is not easy. And it's like excavating and sitting with yourself and saying, like, okay, this is what I've experienced. It's just like we all have things that happen to us. Like we think we're not smart, we're not attractive enough because our last boyfriend left us or girlfriend or whatever it was. Like we start to like you talked about it, that identity piece is actually something people really miss, because what's happened to us is just, like I said, it's our experiences, it's who we think we are, it's what's on the outside. But it's like when you go inside, you recognize that's not your truth. And we spend our whole life looking to the outside world to confirm and validate us. And you can only do that from the inside out. You'll search the whole world, you'll get everything you ever wanted, and you'll recognize I'm still not happy because you're not actually clear on who you are and what you want.
Sometimes I think that when things fall apart, in some ways, they actually are things coming together. And what I mean by that is uh, we don't really appreciate life until we're kind of forced to appreciate what's left. And what I
Oh,
mean by that is the broken pieces, if you will, they can be the blessings that will make you piece things together and create this miracle, if you will, for you and
yeah.
your personal experience. How has your deep pain helped you have leverage with clients? Because if someone has shallow pain, they probably have no business doing what they're doing, what you're doing. But kind of explain how those pain points prepare you to deliver for your clients.
Yeah, I think everything you said, though, is so wise and it's so true. Like, we get so upset when stuff falls apart. And I'm not saying it's not hard, it's terrible, but like sometimes they are falling together or that thing needed to break down. I always tell my clients, like, the breakdown comes before the breakthrough. And for me, all of my breakdowns, everything that I lost in life taught me so much about what matters in life, how I needed to show up better in life, how I needed to speak my truth. Like, I was much more guarded before all this happened, and now I'm just so open. I don't even. It might not be healthy. Like the example I always think of that like brings me like some just specific pieces that like shifted me and so profoundly was like I was in a corporate job, and even though I had these psych degrees and I loved my job, I had a great boss, but like I wasn't happy. I knew I wasn't doing my purpose. This was like 13, 14 years ago now. But when my sister died, I was like, she didn't even make it to 40. And I was like, and she died suddenly. I just got a call one day and she was dead. And that was what shook me out of like, oh, life is going by fast and you better do what you're here to do. Like, I'm not going to wake up when I'm 50 and recognize that I didn't follow what it was I knew I was supposed to be doing. Some people are great in a corporate job and that's what they're meant to be doing. For me, I knew at the core of my soul it wasn't true, but I'd been ignoring that for about 2 years. And so that was the catalyst in that moment of that loss of saying like, okay, like my sister didn't get to live and I'm going to live. And the other point was when my mom passed, it was the same thing, like just the next day. Like she called me the night before and I was busy at work and I didn't pick it up. And I thought, oh, I'll call her tomorrow. And there was no tomorrow. And that sat with me for a long time. And that's why now, like, even if I'm afraid, even if I don't want to say something to someone, I will, because I don't want to lose that chance.
Wow. Wow. Lost for words because, man, when people lose things, this type of loss is heavy, man, because there's no words but wow. I mean,
Yeah.
wow. Man, who did you hug today? Because, man, like, wow. Like, only thing I can say to that is I believe a lot of people are meant to do what they're doing right now because what happened in life.
Yeah.
Because you had to go through all of that to add the value that you're adding right now for people. And that's why I love this show. Because when we hear from people like you found your purpose while you're on this earth, so to speak. But it's deeper than that. Like you got fire, man. Like I will be calling you up to be my coach.
Yeah. If things go wrong, I definitely can help you out, promise.
You see what
But
I'm saying?
that's kind of the thing. Or, that is how it's turned into service, is like, I'm really non-judgmental. I don't ever look at anyone as being broken or flawed, or, no matter what's happened, no matter what choices you've made, I think there is a way out. I think there is redemption. Um, and I think you're always choosing in every moment who you want to be. And because I've been through so much difficulty, my clients also feel very understood, because they know, like, I've walked through some hard things. So they don't, we need to not feel alone in these things, even if it's like a terrible breakup that takes you down. It's like, it's not easy to do all of that alone.
Like I said, you're definitely the coach I will be calling.
Oh, thank you.
Like you can even feel it, man. Like you can feel some people you just feel that they've been through something. Like if you listen to your favorite song or watch your favorite movie, there's just that connection that you can't really like explain in words. It's just like when you hear 0.5 seconds of that intro, it's like, okay, everybody be quiet, clear the room, because this is my time. And that's what I feel with you be on the show. Is like somebody gonna watch this and listen to this and be like, man, I need to hit her up and we need to get to work, because I feel like when you have so much pain you've been through, people can trust you because
Yes.
you had to carry that weight. And for
And
you, was there a time you felt like that weight was too much? Because just one part of your story will probably feel too much for an average person, but it was like it just kept coming. That weight kept getting heavier and heavier. Was there a time where you had to put it down and say, you know what? I need 5 minutes.
yes, I think, like, we all have to put that pain down at some point in a really deep and profound way. That's why I really believe in forgiveness, not for the other person, or even have to talk to them again, but forgiveness for yourself, to free you. And then doing the physical work on the body too. This is what we call the somatic work, to let it go. But in my own journey, I think in the last, like the most recent difficult time, I think is, my marriage fell apart in like 2021, but we've been together for a really long time. I got with him when I was very young, and we're still friends to this day. Like, thank God it was an amicable thing. But I think that last loss was like a big thing, because it wasn't a terrible marriage. It just wasn't aligned for us anymore. And so that was hard to like walk away from what felt like at the time my best friend. And that was the moment that it was just kind of like, I had this moment where I realized that every person from my life before, like, let's say before that 10-year period, except for my little brother and my little sister, they were all gone in my life. Like, I'd lost my best friend, I'd lost my husband, I'd lost my mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather. Like, no one was left. I only had like new friends, and my siblings left. And so that was the moment that I was like, how is this even possible that at like 34 or, like in my 30s, that I'm like losing everything in my entire life.
Once again, listen on Refocused Radio and watching us online. Talking to our guest today, Tori Jenae. Go to her website, torijenae.com. She is a confidence and relationship mentor. You need to be everyone's mentor at this point. Wow. The only reason I keep saying wow is because I'm just thinking that could be any of us listening and watching.
Yeah, we're all going to go through something.
All that loss. And you still smile, you still telling your story, you still parody shows. Like, that's why I was joking earlier, like, who did you hug today? Because they probably feel the best love energy ever, because it's amazing what some humans are able to hold. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah. And I do I love that you see that in me, because I think that's so important to me, is that like I do show up with love and I do show up with care, and I can hold space for anything or anyone, but like I want that to be ultimately my legacy, is that if you knew me, you're better because of it.
I'm smiling after this show because, like I said, it's the moments like this on the shows. Like, yeah, I had a plan, had my script. Since 5 minutes went by, and I'm glad it just went out the window, because what needed to be said was said. I hope viewers and listeners feel, because I feel you not just being authentic, but being very meaningful in what you're trying to bring across to people. And what I feel is you carry healing with you, because I feel when people are able to survive things that don't make any sense.
Really
One
don't.
part of that story wouldn't make sense, but have chapters of things that don't make sense. I always used to say in the barbershop back in 17, 19, that our pain is someone else's medicine. Then you are somebody's medicine today when they hear this episode, because I mean, you're not even shedding a tear right now. Like,
well, I've shed plenty, trust me.
It's just like, wow, like we need more people like you, because you're healing people with your story that you're sharing. And I hope people not just connect with you and blow up your business and you get everything you ever wanted. Hopefully you get double, triple, quadruple of whatever you thought was possible, because if anyone deserved that breakthrough, it'll definitely be you. And I'm sure you probably had that, but I'm just saying. Because, wow.
I definitely feel blessed to even be on this planet. Statistically, I probably shouldn't be alive. Women in my family, even my maternal grandmother struggled with addiction as well. She did not live long. So I feel blessed.
Sounds like a movie, man. You need to hit up a platform. Somebody needs to write this movie script, because, wow.
Yeah, I'm the first woman in four generations. So my grandmother, my mother, and then my older sister. So I'm the first one to actually not be an addict. So yes, I hope, and that's my prayer, is that I do, bring and carry this energy of healing. And my goal is always how do I transform darkness into light? That's what one of my spiritual teachers said, because I asked him how is it that some people come in and they just have so many challenges? And I was like, I can't really make sense of it. And he said, well, with what you've been through, he said that means you have an ability to transform a lot of darkness. I was like,
Mm.
can I give it back? I was like, I'm not sure. So I
Yeah.
really had to sit with that and say,
I
like,
want the whole cup filled up. Yeah.
yeah, like, okay,
Mm.
well, I guess I'm here to do this, so I'm going
Yeah.
to own it.
I think you got the whole bucket, man. Because I'm gonna let you have the floor, if because I think you can do way better than I could in this moment. If someone's listening right now or watching, they are at the lowest low right now.
Hmm.
They are going through the worst storm in their life, and they just need some kind of encouragement. What helped you get over those dark days? And what would you say to this person who feels like, man, I need a hug. I need like smiley faces. I need all I can take because I'm in the thick of it right now. What would you say to that person?
Yeah, if you're in the darkest moment of your life, just remember that the breakdown always comes before that huge breakthrough, and that everything that's leaving you, you can survive, and that all of this is temporary, and that the sun will come out, even though you do not believe it, you do not feel like it, you don't know how you're going to get out of bed, you feel horrible, you don't know why this is happening to you. It will all become clear, but reach out and get support. Don't isolate. Make sure that you at least eat. All of our good practices go out the window. We forget the basics: eating, sleeping, calling a friend, calling anyone. You know, we're lonelier than we've ever been in the world. So don't do it alone. If there's even one person that you can reach out to, make sure. And obviously contact me on Instagram, even if you just need to DM someone. I've had that in my lifetime many times where people just DM'd me, and I had a guy once tell me that he was actually suicidal, and there was something I said to him on Instagram. I don't even know what it was, but he texted me, or he DM'd me later, like months later, that said I had said something to him. So not that I'm that powerful, trust me, I am still very human and flawed and all of that. But it was the act of reaching out and the act of helping one other person. Because when we're in our own stuff, we're just thinking about what bad stuff happened to us, and that's natural, that's human. But doing something good for someone else makes us feel like we still have a reason to be here.
Well, y'all get y'all tissues because, yeah, that was amazing episode. And once again, listen on Refocused Radio, talking to our guest, Tori Jenae. Go to her website. It's real simple, torijenae.com. However we can help you on this show, let us know because, yeah, I don't even think you're scratching the surface of what you could be doing. I think you've been holding back just a little bit. You need
Oh,
to get a movie deal or something, TV series or something, because wow, all I feel is like a glimpse of power, and you just kind of gave us a little glimpse, and I need sunglasses for that, so I can imagine just open the curtains and it's like, oh my god, like can't handle it. But on a serious note, I know you doing great things. But I seriously believe that you just warming up. You just scratching the surface. You're gonna reach millions of people.
that is the
I mean,
prayer.
completely. So with that said, I'm not gonna preach. I'm gonna turn off and say, like I always want to say to you, Tori, thank you for your time today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was such a good, like, real conversation, which I love.